2.4 million American public school students identified with learning disabilities under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. 7 out of 10 parents, educators, and members of the general public incorrectly link learning disabilities with an intellectual disability. Of parents and 55% of the public mistakenly believe learning disabilities are a product of the home environment. Few parents, 28%, express strong confidence that their child will attend college.
In sharp contrast to the 54% of students with learning disabilities who had a stated goal of attending a 2-year.
When half of people with LD, 55%, had some type of involvement with the criminal justice system.
Many parents continue to ignore signs of trouble, instead choosing to wait and see if their child will grow out of it.
51% of what people call learning disabilities think it is as a result of laziness.
Hello, my name is Paige Rooney, and I'm a senior at Cal Poly. I am a liberal studies major, and I'm making a documentary about living with learning disabilities. What is a learning disability? Well, it's a disorder in one or more of the basic psychological processes that involves our understanding of language, spoken or written. It can impair the ability to listen, think, speak, read, write, or do mathematical calculations. Today in our documentary, we're going to be focusing on dyslexia, which is the most prominent of learning disabilities. Dyslexia is a specific learning disability in reading, and it can affect the phonological processes, the phonemic processes, and the difficulty with fluency, word decoding, and spelling. So why are learning disabilities so important to me? Well, I am very passionate about this as a future educator. I want to make sure that I learn everything I can about what I can do to help my future students. I want to know how to identify a learning disability. I want to know how I can take my curriculum I'm making and adapt to their needs. I want to know how I can do the instructional strategies different so that they're fully understanding. It's a very important topic to me and my family. My sister is diagnosed severe dyslexia, and so we've learned as much as possible about learning disabilities and what we can do to help. My mom is also diagnosed with learning disability, dyscalculia, which is the inability to do mental math, mathematical calculations, and basically have mathematical reasoning. Within the past couple of years, I've also learned that I am not diagnosed, but I've learned that I have some difficulty with math as well. I've tried endlessly to fix this, but I just am processing things different than my peers. And it's been evident since I've been at Cal Poly and have been taking the math classes. I process things much slower. I can study for a math test on average about 20 to 25 hours for every test and still not do very well. I've got tutors. I've been in office hours every day of the week, and it just doesn't seem to help. And I kept wondering, what about me? Why was I not getting it? Well, I learned that learning disabilities are hereditary, and my mom and my sister were getting diagnosed, and I thought, well, maybe this is relevant to me too. It's been very discouraging to be a college student and just be in a different place than your peers. I failed math, and I got held back when all my roommates were in my same class. It pushed me back in school. And I've even went to teachers and professors, and one professor even told me that I should probably change my career. And so my self-confidence just went completely down. I didn't think that I could do school anymore. I wanted to drop out multiple times. But I had to keep telling myself that I loved working with kids. I really just wanted to be in education. I love working with students. I want to make a difference. I enjoy it. I mean, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to be a teacher just because I can't do math. So I'm going to take my learning disability and I'm going to make it something that I can live with and still be a fantastic educator. So that's my personal story, and you're going to learn a little bit about my sister, Reagan, who struggles with severe dyslexia. So you're going to have a glimpse when you talk to my parents. These are my parents, and they're going to tell us about Reagan's dyslexia.
Hi, my name's Kevin.
And I'm Stephanie, and Reagan's our daughter, and she's 12 now. She was diagnosed with dyslexia, I think when she was in about first grade. She was held back in kindergarten, and first grade, she really wasn't reading at grade level. And we had an older daughter, Paige, that we had already experienced, what she was going through academically and was reading very fluently. So kind of had some comparison with her and our son as well, who was reading at grade level. So we decided to take her to see our pediatrician, or her pediatrician, and she then referred us to the Mind Institute, which did a series of tests, and basically they came up with she was diagnosed with dyslexia. And our perception of dyslexia at the time was that
she reads words backwards and letters backwards, and we thought that's all it was.
And she did flip her letters, her
Mm-hmm.
B's.
B's and D's.
D's quite often, but really that's not the case. They don't read backwards. That's just a perception. They just have a hard time with phonemic awareness and decoding words, and they're right brain learners, where most people who read are left brain learners. And statistically, or not statistically, but it shows in
MRI or CAT scans.
CAT scans, where if you read to a dyslexic, or a dyslexic reads,
both sides of the brain are active, whereas a normal reader, just the left side of the brain is active.
So, Stephanie, you were diagnosed with something as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I really wasn't diagnosed, but I struggled in school, and when I was in school, parents really weren't as, I don't want to say,
They just let things go.
proactive as maybe we are with Reagan. So I struggled. I would study for hours and get C's. And mine wasn't really reading. Mine was math. I just don't understand it. Still don't to this day. Well, when Reagan got diagnosed, that's when I realized that I have dyscalculia, which is kind of a dyslexia of math. And dyslexia is genetic. So it runs in families. And I believe my mother is probably dyslexic and was never diagnosed as well. So.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about Reagan's strengths and some weaknesses that you've noticed just with working with her?
Strengths? Oh, she's very creative. She's very artistic. Pays attention to detail.
She sees everything. She's so detailed that she sees everything. Driving in a car, she just sees and pays attention to everything.
Very athletic. She's in gymnastics. She's in a fashion design class, so she sews.
She golfs.
She golfs. So she's weaknesses. I mean, obviously, reading is one of unfortunately, her weakness, and she's not at grade level right now. She's about a year behind. So she is in 6th grade right now, but I would say she's at a 5th grade reading level.
So you have turned to homeschooling this year. Can you tell us a little bit about why you made that decision?
Yeah, she was in public school from kindergarten through 5th grade, and she does have an IEP. However, she wasn't getting the right instruction to help her learn how to read. So she was being pulled out to go to the learning center about 5 days a week, which is great, but they weren't giving her the proper instruction. So she wasn't excelling in her reading.
They're basically doing the same thing over and over again that she didn't understand in the first place, and she wasn't going to understand.
And we also had inconsistencies with the teachers, because at her school, they rotate to different teachers, and they weren't really fulfilling her IEP, her accommodations. Some were really wonderful, others weren't really fulfilling what they were supposed to.
So, Stephanie, you work with her with homeschooling quite often. What are some of the things that you do in homeschooling every day with Reagan?
Well, we use an online program, and for her it works out great because it has text-to-speech. So for her social studies and her science, she's not quite at grade level, so she can read, but let's say social studies, she can read it, but some of the words are kind of hard for her, and so her comprehension isn't going to be as good. So it has text to speech, and so she can comprehend it and learn it and absorb it and does very well. So we use an online program. It's very visual, has videos, so she can see it and not just read it. We do a lot of hands-on activities, which for dyslexic kids, that's a lot of them, that's how they learn, by visually seeing. Multisensory is huge, and that's what I've been giving her as far as her homeschooling. And then she gets an Orton Gillingham for her language arts, which is multisensory learning, and it's statistically known to help kids who are dyslexic. And she's gone up 2 grade levels just in the past year in her reading.
Wow, that's awesome. So what would be a good takeaway message for other parents that are in your position, or any tips for students that might be going through this?
Get tested.
Yeah,
I think that's the key, is to get tested and find out and get that diagnosis.
As far as if you're in the public school, I'm assuming it depends on what school you're with, but I mean, I've had to homeschool, so tips. I mean, a diagnosis is great. I have a lot of parents who have came to me and asked me about dyslexia, but I would say only maybe a couple of them have actually taken their children to go get tested, which is a little concerning to me. Because it's helped Reagan tremendously with academics. She's done so well, and now she's actually active. We're done at 2, and now she's in gymnastics. She's a golfer. She's in a fashion design class. She has the time to do activities where before we were doing about 3 hours of homework in public school. So I think diagnosis is the beginning. So at least you know what you're.
Once they're diagnosed, then you know what to teach them, as opposed to teach them the same thing that's not working.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time and for your input.
Got it? All right. So Reagan, what do you do every day? What's your favorite thing to do on a daily basis?
Every day I would usually like to
What do you like to do every day?
to do sewing, gymnastics, tumbling, golfing, and also once in a while we'll do archery.
Yeah, whoa, that sounds cool. That sounds really awesome. What else do you do?
That's pretty much it.
What do you want to be when you get older?
I want to be interior design or a fashion
Fashion designer? Yeah. Grandma was telling me about a really cool school that you wanted to go to. Where is it at? A college, right? First?
Yes. I couldn't exactly remember what it was called, but I remember it was by it's all I know is far from here.
San Diego?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome, huh? You get to design clothes all the time?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you, what do you think dyslexia is? What could you tell me about it right now?
All I know is that you pretty much just learn differently. Takes time to process things. And yeah, I just have usual trouble reading and writing all that.
So are you experiencing this?
Yes.
Yeah? How do you experience trouble with reading and writing?
Well, I just really have to brainstorm.
You have to think about what you're gonna say before you say it? Yeah.
And it just takes sometimes a while for me to just write a summary of something.
So summaries can be a little hard.
What
What about when you're reading and the text is being read to you aloud? Is that easier for you to summarize?
Yes.
Because it's being told to you, so you can hear it and you can talk about it then?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's too hard to write it, huh?
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's the problem? Alright, that's cool. So how has homeschooling been really helpful for you? What do you get to do at homeschool?
I really like it because I felt like I learned new things and got taught how I really wanted to. And I've been having a tutor doing Barton, and that really helped me.
Yeah. So what exactly does Miss Amy do with you?
She helps break syllables up to read words or spell them, and go over tons of rules to spell them or read them.
And that works for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So when you were going to school at public school, how did it compare to homeschooling? What was different about it?
In public school, I felt like I kind of did the same exact thing. It was kind of it was a struggle for me because they were learning things that were just really difficult for me.
Yeah, you felt a little lost. Yeah, compared to other people in your class.
Yes.
And you were getting pulled out of class to go work with somebody. How was that?
It helped a little bit, but at the same time, it felt like you're learning the same exact thing and not really doing much.
Yeah. So I know that sometimes you get a little nervous about doing things, and maybe a lot of that is related to school. Why do you think that you get nervous or anxious?
Well, I just get anxiety from just being worried too much about school. Yeah, that's pretty much
It
it.
just kind of stresses you out
Yeah.
thinking about it. I know the feeling. That happens with me too. All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to me about it. Yeah.
Hi, my name's Katie Sebastian. I'm a graduating senior from Cal Poly. I was diagnosed with dyslexia when I was in 7th grade, and I was really privileged to go to a private school because I was able to be pulled out every single day for resource, and she had really amazing accommodations for me. She had a bunch of different techniques that we went through and different scaffoldings to see which one really fit my needs. I was really privileged at this, and I was able to successfully make it through all of college and high school. My message to future teachers would be that they really pay attention to students if there's even something slightly that they think's off. A lot of students are going underneath the radar and are being missed, that they might have some sort of reading disability or learning disability. So make sure that you pay attention to everybody and they get all the resources and accommodations that they have. Thanks.